The void between stars held secrets that civilizations spent millennia trying to uncover. Today, one of those secrets was about to shatter everything the Galactic Council thought they knew about the universe. Diana Ross had seen many strange things during her 15 years exploring the dark reaches of space, but nothing prepared her for what waited beyond the Crimson Nebula. The FSS Pioneer limped forward on failing engines, hull scarred from radiation storms that would have killed lesser ships. Her crew of 43 had survived on recycled rations and sheer determination for 8 months. Now, as they cleared the nebula's edge, a sight stopped them cold. 3 massive fleets hung in the black, weapons armed, facing each other in a standoff that looked older than human civilization. The scanner chirped frantically as it tried to catalog the thousands of ships arranged in battle formations. Chief Lewis whistled low from his station. "Boss, we just walked into somebody's war." Diana studied the tactical display. The fleets belonged to 3 distinct groups based on their ship designs. One favored elegant curves and crystalline structures. Another built in harsh angles and dark metal. The third used organic-looking vessels that seemed almost alive. None of them were human. "Send a general broadcast," Diana said. "All frequencies, maybe they'll listen before they shoot." Lieutenant Cole worked the communications array, boosting their signal to maximum range. "This is the FSS Pioneer. We come in peace. We are human, requesting safe passage through this region." The response came faster than anyone expected. All 3 fleets turned their weapons toward the tiny human ship. "Well," Lewis muttered, "at least we got their attention." Diana kept her voice level despite her racing heart. "Hold position. Don't power weapons. Let's see if curiosity beats aggression." For 30 agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then a space station appeared on their screens, previously hidden by some kind of cloaking field. It sat precisely in the center of the 3 fleets, a neutral ground in disputed territory. 3 different voices spoke simultaneously through the comm system, each translating automatically into English. The first was smooth and measured, like wind chimes. The second rasped like grinding stone. The third rumbled with bass frequencies that vibrated the deck plates. "Unknown vessel, you have entered the Concordia zone. State your origin and intent." Diana straightened in her chair. "I am Captain Diana Ross of the Federation Starship Pioneer, representing humanity. Our homeworld is Earth, located in a region your charts probably mark as uninhabitable. We've been exploring beyond our borders for the first time. We mean no harm to anyone." Silence greeted her words. Then all 3 voices spoke again, but this time they were talking to each other, ignoring the humans entirely. "Impossible. That sector is bathed in radiation. Their ship design is unknown, primitive but effective. Single vessel, minimal armament. They pose no threat." Diana caught Dr. Neal's eye across the bridge. The xenobiologist looked excited despite the danger. First contact with not 1 but 3 alien species simultaneously. It should have been a moment of celebration. Instead, it felt like standing in a minefield. A new voice cut through the chatter. "Human vessel, this is Concordia Station Authority. You will dock at Bay 17. All 3 powers wish to speak with you. Refusal will be interpreted as hostile intent." Lewis leaned close to Diana. "That's not a request." "No," Diana agreed quietly. "It's not, but we didn't come this far to start a fight." She raised her voice. "Concordia Authority, we accept your invitation. Pioneer out." As they approached the massive station, Diana got her first real look at the aliens who had just conscripted them into whatever political game they were playing. The elegant ships belonged to the Averni Collective, beings that looked like a cross between praying mantises and crystalline sculptures. The harsh angular vessels housed the Talrin Republic reptilian creatures that walked upright and radiated barely contained aggression. The organic ships carried the Brosk Federation, massive bear-like beings covered in thick fur and what looked like natural armor plates. "They've been scanning us," Cole reported. "Deep scans, they're learning everything about our ship's structure." Diana filed that information away. Trust was going to be in short supply here. Let them look. We've got nothing to hide. That wasn't entirely true, but the Pioneer's real secrets were locked behind encryption even she couldn't break without the right codes. The docking procedure took 20 minutes. During that time, Diana watched the alien fleets through the viewport. They hadn't relaxed there. Battle formations. Whatever conflict existed between them, it was serious enough to keep thousands of warships on constant alert. "Captain," Dr. Neal said softly, "I've been monitoring their communications. These three powers have been in a Cold War for 47 years. Territory disputes, resource conflicts, old grievances. None of them can make a move without the others teaming up against them." "And we just walked into the middle of it," Diana finished. She understood now. Three powers locked in a stalemate. Then a fourth party arrives from nowhere, unknown and unpredictable. Each side would be scrambling to figure out if humanity could tip the balance in their favor. The Pioneer shuddered as docking clamps engaged. Diana stood, straightening her uniform. "Lewis, you have the bridge. Neil, Cole, you're with me. If anything goes wrong, take the ship and run for home. That's an order." Lewis nodded grimly. "Understood. Try not to start an interstellar incident." Diana managed a thin smile. "Too late for that. We started one just by showing up." The airlock cycled open to reveal three separate delegations waiting on the other side. Averni, Talrin, and Brosk, all trying to be the first to greet the humans. Their body language screamed competition and suspicion of each other. Diana took a deep breath and stepped forward into galactic politics. Behind her, Earth seemed very far away. Ahead, three civilizations tried to smile with faces not built for the expression. She had a feeling this was going to get complicated very quickly. Politics tasted like recycled air and desperation. Diana learned this during her first hour aboard Concordia Station. The Averni ambassador, who insisted Diana call him Leith, guided her through corridors that seemed to shift and shimmer. His crystalline body caught the light in ways that made him hard to look at directly. He spoke in that wind chime voice, words carefully chosen. "Your species fascinates us, Captain Ross. You survived a journey through the Crimson Nebula. Our scientists deemed it impossible 3 centuries ago." Leith's multifaceted eyes studied her. "We could learn much from each other." Diana kept her expression neutral. She had already sat through similar conversations with the Talrin High Commander Brandt and the Brosk Trade Minister Hollies. Each had their own version of the same speech. Each wanted humanity on their side. None admitted it. Directly, "We're explorers," Diana said for the third time that day. "Not mercenaries, not allies in anyone's war. We came to learn about the galaxy, not help anyone conquer it." Leith's limbs clicked together in what translation software labeled as amusement. "How refreshingly naive. You think you can remain neutral in a galaxy already divided? The Talrin will see your refusal as weakness. The Brosk will view it as an opportunity. And we Averni understand that neutrality is simply alliance with whoever makes the best offer last." "Then all three of you will be disappointed," Diana replied. She returned to the Pioneer 6 hours later with a headache and growing concerns. Cole and Neil waited in her ready room with similar reports. "The Talrin tried to intimidate me," Cole said bluntly. "Showed me their weapon systems, made it clear what happens to species who don't choose sides wisely. They think humans are soft because we explore instead of conquer." Neil looked troubled. "The Brosk were subtler. They talked about trade, about prosperity, about how much humanity could gain from their protection. When I asked what we needed protection from, they just smiled. Well, tried to smile. The gesture doesn't translate well on their faces." Diana leaned back in her chair. "They're all circling us like sharks. 3 powers locked in a stalemate for half a century, and with a variable that could break it. The question is what happens if we don't play their game." The answer came 3 days later. Chief Lewis burst into Diana's quarters at what the ship's clock insisted was 3 in the morning. "Boss, you need to see this. Now." The bridge crew had already assembled when Diana arrived. On the main screen, technical schematics scrolled past in alien script. Lewis pointed at them with barely contained anger. That's our ship, every detail. Hull composition, engine design, weapon systems, life support, everything. Someone's been scanning us since we docked. Deep-level analysis, the kind that takes days of constant observation. Diana felt ice in her gut. Who? The Averni. I traced the scanning beams to their flagship. They've been mapping the Pioneer down to the molecular level. Dr. Neal spoke up from the science station. Captain, with this data they could replicate our technology, or worse, develop countermeasures against it. If they wanted to capture our ship, they now know exactly how to disable it. Diana's mind raced. The Averni wanted humanity's secrets without actually negotiating for them. That meant they saw humans as resources to exploit, not equals to respect. Can we prove it? She asked. Lewis nodded. Every scan leaves trace signatures. I've got records of every pulse they sent our way. It's solid evidence. Good, set up a meeting with all 3 ambassadors. Public setting, lots of witnesses. If Leith wants to play games, let's see how he handles being exposed. 2 hours later, Diana stood in Concordia's central plaza with half the station watching. Leith, Brant, and Hollies faced her with varying degrees of curiosity and suspicion. I asked you all here because we need to establish something, Diana began. Humanity won't be lied to, manipulated, or stolen from. Ambassador Leith, your people have been conducting unauthorized scans of my ship for 72 hours. We have the evidence. We know what you've been doing. Leith's crystalline form flickered, colors shifting. A misunderstanding, surely. Standard security protocols require us to analyze all unknown vessels. For 3 days straight, mapping our technology down to the atomic level. Diana kept her voice level but let steel show through. That's not security, that's theft. The Talrin commander Brant made a grinding sound that his translator rendered as laughter. The Averni reveal their nature at last. They cannot compete fairly, so they steal. Typical. Hollies, the massive Brosk minister, rumbled thoughtfully. If the Averni possess human technology, the balance shifts. This cannot stand. Nobody possesses our technology, Diana cut in sharply. Because we're not giving it to anyone, not the Averni, not the Talrin, not the Brosk. We came here in peace. We wanted to establish diplomatic relations, share knowledge through proper channels, maybe even become friends. She looked at each alien in turn. Instead, you've all tried to recruit us into your wars, intimidate us with your weapons, or steal from us while pretending to be friendly. Leith's voice lost its musical quality. You are one small ship with 43 crew members. We number in the billions. You speak boldly for someone so vulnerable. Diana smiled without humor. You think we're vulnerable? Chief Lewis, show them what the Pioneer can do. Through the viewports, the Pioneer undocked from the station. What happened next made every alien. Present freeze. The human ship twisted through space in ways that defied conventional physics. It spun, rolled, accelerated in directions that should have torn it apart. Lewis performed maneuvers that would have killed crews from any of the 3 powers through sheer gravitational force alone. Human bodies adapted to a heavy gravity world, Diana explained as the aliens watched. We can handle forces that would break your people. Our ship design accounts for that. You scanned our hull, Ambassador Leith, but you didn't understand what you were seeing. We don't build ships like you do. We build them for humans. The demonstration lasted 5 minutes. When the Pioneer returned to dock, every alien in the plaza looked at Diana with new eyes. Not respect yet, but recognition of a miscalculation. We're leaving Concordia in 6 hours, Diana announced. We'll establish a neutral outpost at the edge of this sector. Any power that wants honest trade and friendship can meet us there. Any power that wants to use us will be disappointed. She turned and walked away, her officers flanking her. Behind them, 3 galactic powers finally agreed on something. They had seriously underestimated humanity. Explosions have a way of simplifying complicated situations. One moment Diana was sharing a meal with station workers from a dozen different species, learning about their lives and dreams. The next moment, the walls shook and alarms screamed through Concordia Station. Dr. Neal dove under the table as debris rained down. Cole pulled Diana toward the emergency exit while civilians scattered in every direction. Through the viewport, flames bloomed in the black where a Brosk transport had been seconds before. "All hands battle stations," Diana shouted into her communicator. "Lewis, get the Pioneer ready to launch." Station security appeared, weapons drawn, but they looked confused rather than organized. Nobody knew what was happening or who to shoot. Through the chaos, 3 different news feeds played on wall screens, each showing the same horrifying footage from different angles. A ship that looked remarkably like the Pioneer fired weapons into the Brosk transport. The energy signature matched human technology. The attack pattern mimicked human tactics. By every measure, humans had just committed an act of war. Except Diana knew with absolute certainty that every member of her crew had been exactly where they were. Supposed to be, none of them had attacked anyone. "It's a setup," Cole growled, helping an injured Talran civilian to safety. "Someone built a fake human ship." Diana's blood went cold. The Averni scans, 3 days of mapping every detail of the Pioneer. They had enough data to build a convincing replica, at least from the outside. Just enough to fool sensor readings and security cameras. She grabbed a working communication terminal. "This is Captain Diana Ross to all Concordia Authority. That was not a human ship. We've been framed. Check your deep sensor logs, you'll see." Static cut her off. Every communication channel went dead simultaneously. Whoever planned this knew exactly how to maximize the damage. Through the viewport, the Brosk fleet began moving. Massive organic-looking warships turned toward the Averni positions, weapons charging with visible energy. The Averni formation shifted in response, elegant crystal ships forming defensive patterns. Then the Talran struck both fleets. It happened so fast that Diana barely processed it. The reptilian warships must have been waiting for exactly this moment. With the Averni and Brosk focused on each other, the Talran launched simultaneous assaults on both fleets. Space lit up with weapons fire. Shields flared and died. Ships exploded in flowers of atmosphere and metal. In 30 seconds, the Cold War that had lasted 47 years became a hot war that would consume millions. "We need to leave," Neal said urgently. "Right now, before they remember we're here." Diana shook her head. "We can't just run. We need to prove we didn't do this. If we flee, it confirms their suspicions." "If we stay, we're dead," Cole argued. "Look at them. They're not thinking straight. They're not going to stop and listen to evidence. They're going to blame us and each other until someone wins or everyone dies." He was right. Diana hated it, but he was right. "Pioneer, this is Ross. Emergency departure. Override all docking protocols. We're leaving now." The station shuddered as more explosions rocked nearby sections. Running through smoke-filled corridors, Diana's team passed scenes that would haunt her later. A Talran child crying over her parents' body. Brosk workers trapped under collapsed ceiling. Averni trying to put out fires with their crystalline limbs melting from the heat. The docking bay was worse. Someone had sabotaged the Pioneer during the confusion. Fuel lines cut, thruster assemblies damaged, navigation computers full of corrupted code. It was a professional job designed to strand them here while the war raged. Lewis met them at the airlock, tools in hand and fury in his eyes. Those Averni bastards did this when they were supposedly making repairs yesterday. Hidden damage set to fail at a specific time, probably remote triggered. "Can you fix it?" Diana demanded. "Not fast enough. We need 12 hours minimum." "We have maybe 12 minutes, Diana thought fast. "What can we do?" Lewis wiped grease from his forehead. "We can limp. Maybe reach that mining colony we passed 3 days out, but we won't outrun any warships in this condition. One shot and we're debris." Diana looked at her crew, 43 people who trusted her to get them home alive. Behind them, a war burned that someone had deliberately started using humanity's name. If they ran, they proved their guilt. If they stayed, they died. "Get us moving," she ordered. "Any speed you can manage, we'll figure out the rest as we go." The Pioneer pulled away from Concordia as three massive fleets tore each other apart. Warships that should have been hunting the humans were too busy killing each other to care about one damaged explorer ship. But someone noticed. Diana saw it on sensors too late to do anything about it. A single Averni ship, smaller and faster than the others, broke formation and accelerated toward them. Weapons hot, intent clear. They're not going to let us tell anyone what really happened, Cole realized. We're witnesses. We know the attack was faked. Lewis coaxed every bit of power from their damaged engines. The Pioneer shook like it was coming apart. Maybe it was. Systems failed one after another. Life support flickered. Gravity cut out for 3 terrifying seconds before backup systems engaged. The Averni ship fired. The blast missed by meters, but the electromagnetic pulse still scrambled half the Pioneer systems. Lewis screamed in frustration as his carefully balanced repairs collapsed. "One more hit and we're done," he reported. Diana gripped her chair as the ship bucked and twisted through space. Around them, the largest fleet battle in 47 years painted the dark with fire. She had come to explore, to learn, to make friends among the stars. Instead, one human ship had just ignited a galactic war. And the worst part, Diana suspected this was exactly what someone had wanted all along. 3 powers locked in stalemate. Insert an unknown variable, create a crisis, watch them destroy each other. Humanity wasn't a player in galactic politics. They were the match thrown into the powder keg. The question was who threw them and why. Mercy wasn't supposed to be part of war, but Diana Ross never followed other people's rules. The mining colony on Refuge Point barely qualified as civilization. 300 souls from all 3 warring species had built lives in the asteroid belt, as far from politics as the galaxy allowed. Now those same refugees huddled in makeshift shelters, while the war they fled found them anyway. The Pioneer drifted into dock on emergency reserves, held together by Lewis's genius and what he called aggressive optimism. Smoke still leaked from hull breaches. Half the crew nursed injuries from their escape. They should have been running for Earth, not stopping at a remote rock full of people who might blame them for starting the war. Diana stepped off the ship to find every alien in the colony staring at her. Talran miners with fear in their eyes. Brosk families clutching children close. Averni traders with their crystalline bodies dimmed by stress. All of them looking at the human who supposedly murdered hundreds and sparked the bloodiest conflict in half a century. An old Talran female pushed through the crowd. Her scales were scarred from years of hard labor, her voice rasped with age and exhaustion. "You brought war here, leave before you bring death too." Diana met her gaze steadily. "We didn't start this war. We were used by people who wanted it to happen. But you're right about one thing, death is coming here whether we stay or go." She gestured to the sky where distant flashes marked ongoing battles. "Those fleets are destroying each other. Soon they'll run out of military targets. Then they'll come for colonies like this one, resources, supplies, hostages. You're all in danger." A young Brosk male stepped forward, barely old enough to grow his adult fur. "Then what do? We came here to escape war. Where can we run now?" Diana had spent 3 days planning this while Lewis fixed the ship. 3 days watching news feeds of civilian casualties mounting. 3 days knowing that if humanity didn't act, they'd be remembered as the species that started a war and abandoned its victims. "You don't run," Diana said. "We help you, all of you, regardless of what species you are or which government claims to own you." The colony elder, a Brosk named Gil, laughed bitterly. "With what? 1 broken ship, 40 humans, against 3 galactic fleets." "Against the war itself," Diana corrected. "We can't stop the fighting, but we can save the people caught in it. I need volunteers, any species, anyone willing to crew rescue ships and pull civilians out of war zones before they become casualties." The crowd murmured, suspicion mixed with desperate hope. A young Averni stepped forward, her crystalline structure dimmed by grief. "My name is Paige. I was a soldier before I deserted. I know Averni tactics, their patrol routes, their blind spots." She looked at Diana with something like respect. If humans are truly trying to save lives, I'll help. Others followed. A Talrin shuttle pilot named Surrey who lost her family in the opening days of the war. The Brosk youth Gil who had mining experience and knew the asteroid fields. More came forward, dozens of them, each with their own skills and reasons. Dr. Neal organized them into teams. Cole taught basic combat medicine. Lewis showed them how to retrofit civilian ships with shield generators salvaged from wrecks. Diana coordinated it all, feeling like she was building something impossible that might just work. The first rescue mission launched 4 days later. 3 ships crewed by mixed teams of humans and aliens, heading for a Talrin agricultural colony that had been caught between battle lines. Military logic said the colony didn't matter. Diana's logic said every life mattered. They hit the colony during what Lewis called a quiet moment in the war, those brief windows when exhausted fleets pulled back to rearm and repair. The colony was burning. Orbital bombardment had cracked open habitats. Thousands of Talrin civilians fled toward any ship that would take them. Diana's team packed evacuees into every available space. When the cargo holds filled, they put people in corridors. When corridors filled, they rigged emergency life support in maintenance tunnels. 600 civilians on a ship rated for 80. Then the Brosk patrol showed up. The warship captain's face filled the communication screen, furry features twisted with contempt. Unidentified vessel, you are extracting enemy combatants from a conflict zone. Surrender them immediately or be destroyed. These are civilians, Diana responded, keeping her voice calm despite her racing heart. Families, children, not soldiers. All Talrin are enemies of the Brosk Federation. You harbor enemies, you become an enemy. Behind Diana, Surrey the Talrin pilot spoke up in her own language, broadcast on the same channel. Diana didn't understand the words, but she understood the emotion. Pleading, reasoning, reminding the Brosk captain that they shared a galaxy, shared neighbors, shared lives before this insanity. The Brosk captain hesitated. For 10 seconds that felt like hours, his weapon locks stayed active. Then they disengaged. Go, he said quietly. Take them somewhere safe. But if I see you again in a war zone, mercy ends. The rescue ship jumped to faster-than-light travel before he could change his mind. Behind them, the agricultural colony finished burning, but 600 lives continued. Word spread fast. Refugees from all sides began calling the frequency Diana had broadcast on civilian channels. The human angels, they called her teams. Species didn't matter. Loyalty didn't matter. If you needed rescue, humans came. The 3 governments noticed. Military commanders sent orders to stop the rescues by any means necessary. But something unexpected happened. More soldiers like Page started deserting. More ship captains like the Brosk who let them go developed sensor malfunctions at critical moments. More civilians began questioning why they were fighting at all when humans proved cooperation was possible. Diana stood in the Pioneer's cargo bay surrounded by alien families from all 3 powers. They shared food, blankets, and stories despite coming from enemy species. A Talrin child played with a Brosk cub under the watchful eyes of an Averni parent. This is what they're afraid of, Neal said beside her. Not our weapons or our ships. This, unity, the idea that their war is a choice, not an inevitability. Diana nodded. She had come to explore the stars. Instead, she was teaching the galaxy something it seemed to have forgotten. That compassion was stronger than hatred. That every life had value regardless of which government claimed it. That wars were fought by politicians while regular people just wanted to live. The rescue operations continued. Each mission saved hundreds. Each mission proved that another way was possible. Each mission drove another crack into the foundation of a war that never should have started. Somewhere, someone had used humanity to ignite this conflict. Diana was going to use humanity to put it out. Trust between enemies begins with exhaustion. By the 3rd month of war, everyone was tired of killing. The encrypted message reached Diana through channels so secret that even military intelligence agencies missed them. 3 words on her private communicator, untraceable and unsigned. Moon, midnight, alone. Cole immediately objected. It's obviously a trap, probably an assassination attempt. We don't even know who sent it. Diana studied the coordinates. A barren moon in neutral territory, far from any active combat zone. The kind of place where someone could meet without their superiors knowing, or where someone could disappear without witnesses. It might be a trap, Diana agreed. But what if it's not? What if someone in one of those fleets is tired of this war too? She took the Pioneer alone, leaving strict orders with Lewis that if she didn't return, he was to take the crew and run for Earth. No heroics, no rescue attempts, just survive and tell humanity what happened here. The moon's surface was pocked with ancient craters, airless and dead. Diana's shuttle touched down near the coordinates to find 3 ships already waiting. Talrin design, Brosk construction, Averni craftsmanship, 1 from each fleet. Her hand moved to her sidearm before she forced herself to relax. If they wanted her dead, she already would be. These people took massive risks just being here. The moon had a small research station, abandoned decades ago. Inside its pressurized dome, 3 figures waited. A Talrin officer in battle-scarred armor, a Brosk commander whose fur was singed from combat, an Averni captain whose crystalline structure showed stress fractures. Captain Ross, the Talrin spoke first. I am Commander Frost. We need to talk about ending this war. Diana sat across from them, studying faces marked by battle and loss. Why me? Why humans? The Brosk, who introduced himself as Colonel Dane, made a rumbling sound. Because you're the only ones who kept your honor. 3 months of fighting and humans never took sides, never joined the killing. You only saved lives. We intercepted your civilian broadcasts, Frost continued. We've watched your rescue operations. We've seen how you treat prisoners. You show us what we forgot that hour. Enemies are people too. The Averni captain, crystalline form flickering with emotion, spoke quietly. My name is Reed. I commanded a destroyer in the initial attack. I followed orders. I killed hundreds. Her voice broke. Then I watched your people pull my species from a burning station alongside Talrin and Brosk, children who moments before were enemies, sheltered together on your ships. I realized we became monsters, all of us. Diana felt the weight of what they were proposing. You want a ceasefire, but you're just 3 officers. Your governments will never agree. Not a political ceasefire, Frost clarified. A military one from the soldiers, from the people actually doing the fighting. He activated a holographic display showing fleet positions. Colored markers indicated ships, hundreds of them scattered across multiple systems. Some markers pulsed differently than others. Every pulsing marker is a ship whose crew wants to stop fighting, Dane explained. We've been using your civilian frequencies to coordinate 20% of the combined fleets, thousands of soldiers who are done killing on command. Diana stared at the display. 20% was substantial, but not majority. What about the other 80%? Some are true believers, Reed admitted. Some fear punishment for disobedience. Most are just following orders because that's what soldiers do. She looked at Diana intently. We need someone to unite the opposition, someone all sides respect, someone who never lied to us or used us. You want me to lead a mutiny across 3 galactic fleets? Diana couldn't keep the disbelief from her voice. Frost showed her his teeth in what might have been a smile. We want you to show the galaxy what you showed us, that there's another way, that we're better than this. The plan they outlined was insane. Coordinate simultaneous stand-ons across multiple fleets. Broadcast the truth about the false flag attack that started the war. Force their governments to negotiate by taking away their ability to fight. It would probably fail. Most of those involved would face courts-martial or worse. The true believers in each fleet would likely turn their weapons on their own people before allowing mass desertion. Diana thought about the Talrin child she rescued last week, playing with a Brosk cub. She thought about Paige and Surrey and Gil, aliens who became friends working toward peace. She thought about 43 human crew members who signed up to explore, not fight wars. "If we do this," Diana said slowly, "we broadcast everything. Every secret, every manipulation, every lie that led to this war. We force our leaders to face what they've done." "Agreed," all three officers said simultaneously. The next 2 weeks moved like lightning. Diana coordinated through encrypted channels with military personnel across all three fleets. Some wanted justice, some wanted peace, some just wanted to go home. All of them were tired of dying for pride and politics. The broadcast went live during a major engagement in the Outer Rim. As warships exchanged fire, Diana's message appeared on every military frequency simultaneously. "This is Captain Diana Ross speaking to all personnel across all fleets. You've been lied to. The attack that started this war was a false flag operation designed to manipulate you into fighting. We have evidence, we have testimony, we have truth." She played recordings of the Averni scan data, showed schematics proving the attack ship was a replica, presented testimony from deserters who witnessed the conspiracy. "You are not cowards if you refuse to fight for liars," Diana continued. "You are not traitors if you demand truth from those who command you. You are soldiers. You deserve to know what you're dying for." Across three fleets, ships began powering down weapons. Not all of them, not even most of them, but enough. 20% became 30%, then 40%. Some commanders ordered their crews to fire on the ships standing down. Talrin killed Talrin. Brosk attacked Brosk. Averni weapons shattered Averni hulls. Civil war within the war. But in the chaos, something unprecedented happened. Mixed crews from different species protected each other. A Talrin destroyer moved to shield a Brosk transport from friendly fire. Averni fighters ran interference for human rescue ships. The galaxy watched as soldiers refused to be pawns anymore. Governments that ordered the fighting lost control of the people doing it. 3 months of war collapsed in 3 days of mutiny. Diana stood on the Pioneer's bridge watching it unfold, hoping she hadn't just made everything worse. Peace smelled like rain on 3 worlds simultaneously. Diana found that odd until she realized every species in the chamber brought the scent of their homeworld with them. 5 months after a single human ship emerged from the Crimson Nebula, the Great Hall on Concordia Station held representatives from across the galaxy. The old governments had fallen. 3 separate revolutions sparked by military personnel refusing to fight ended regimes that started the war. New leaders sat at the negotiating table, chosen by their people rather than by political machines. Diana stood before them all, feeling like a fraud. She was an explorer, not a diplomat. A ship captain, not a revolutionary. Yet here she was, asked to speak at the most important gathering in galactic history. Ambassador Leith was gone, arrested for orchestrating the false flag attack. In his place sat a younger Averni named Crystal Song, who had spent the war rescuing civilians alongside human teams. High Commander Brandt faced war crime tribunals. Commander Frost represented the Talrin now, scarred and serious. Trade Minister Hollies retired in disgrace. Colonel Dane took his place, the Brosk warrior who chose peace over pride. "Captain Ross," Crystal Song spoke with genuine warmth in her chiming voice. "We owe you a debt we can never repay. You showed us our better nature when we forgot we had one." Diana shifted uncomfortably. She hated speeches, hated being the center of attention, hated that people acted like she was some kind of hero when all she did was refuse to participate in madness. "I didn't do anything special," Diana said. "I just treated people like people. That shouldn't be revolutionary, but apparently in your galaxy it was." Frost made that clicking sound that Talrin used for respect. "You united enemies. You proved cooperation was possible. You gave soldiers permission to refuse immoral orders. Those are not small things." "What happens now?" Diana asked the assembled representatives. "The fighting stopped, but the reasons you fought still exist. Resource disputes, territory claims, old wounds. How do you move forward?" Dane stood, his massive frame making the podium look small. "We propose a true galactic council, Not three powers in a stalemate, but a cooperative government with rotating leadership. Every species gets representation. Every voice gets heard. No single power dominates. We will establish joint colonies in disputed territories, Crystal Song added. Mixed populations, shared resources, make it impossible to draw battle lines when families cross species boundaries. Frost activated a star. Chart, we will create a peacekeeping force. Mixed crews like the ones you trained during the war. Talrin, Brosk, Averni, and humans serving together. If conflict arises, they will mediate, not conquer. Diana studied the proposals. They were ambitious, idealistic, probably impossible to implement perfectly. But they were trying, and that mattered more than perfection. What about humanity? She asked. Where do we fit in this new order? The alien leaders exchanged glances. Finally, Dane spoke. We offer Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. We offer colony worlds, trade agreements, technology sharing. We offer friendship we should have offered from the beginning. Diana took a deep breath. This was the part that would determine humanity's future among the stars. We accept your friendship. We accept trade and cultural exchange. But Earth will remain independent. We'll establish embassies, send ambassadors, participate in your council as observers. We'll help when asked and stand with you as partners, but we won't let anyone govern us, protect us, or speak for us. She expected argument. Instead, she got understanding. That is wisdom, Crystal Song said. We tried to manipulate you, intimidate you, use you. You refused all of it and became stronger for that refusal. We should learn from your example. The formal agreements took 3 more days to finalize. Diana spent that time coordinating with Earth, which had been receiving reports of everything happening and preparing their own response. Humanity would send more ships, more explorers, more people ready to see the galaxy and share what humans did best. On the final day, Diana walked through Concordia's observation deck where the war had started. Paige found her there, the deserter who became one of humanity's closest alien friends. What will you do now? Paige asked, her crystalline form reflecting starlight. Go home, Diana said. The Pioneer earned a rest, so did her crew. We'll tell Earth everything we learned. Then maybe come back with more ships, more people who want to explore. She smiled. Someone has to make sure you don't start another war. Paige's colors shifted with amusement. And if we do? Then we'll stop it, same way we stopped this one, by reminding everyone that wars are fought by people who have more in common than they have differences. The Pioneer left Concordia Station 3 days later, escorted by ships from all 3 species, not an honor guard, not a military formation, friends seeing friends safely home. Chief Lewis had rebuilt the ship better than new, incorporating technology gifted by grateful governments. Dr. Neal compiled decades' worth of xenobiology research. Cole trained a new generation of mixed-species peacekeepers. Surrey, Gill, and dozens of other aliens who became crew members during the war chose to stay with humanity, ambassadors in reverse. Diana sat in her captain's chair as Earth appeared on the view screen after 16 months away. Her world, her home, blue and green and beautiful, untouched by galactic politics. For now, because humanity was part of the galaxy now, not conquerors, not pawns, partners, and the galaxy would never be the same because one exploration ship refused to follow anyone else's script. The war that one human starship ignited lasted 8 months. The peace that one human captain forged would last generations. Diana Ross set out to explore the stars. She came home having taught the galaxy something it desperately needed to learn, that the measure of a civilization wasn't its weapons or wealth or territory. It was how it treated the people it had power over. It was whether it chose compassion when violence was easier. It was whether it built bridges or burned them. Humanity didn't have the biggest ships or the strongest weapons or the most advanced technology. But humans understood something fundamental that others forgot in their centuries of Cold War. Every person mattered. Every life had value. Every choice to help instead of harm made the universe a little better.